Hey, welcome. This is Jeff here on the Huddle Review. Today we are going to get into an interesting tweet that was put out by XRP Stewart. He actually put something out regarding Gary Gensler, something he said back in 2018 regarding the XRP space, regarding Ripple, the Ripple case, regarding in terms of securities. I also want to look briefly at where HR 1602, that was the House resolution, House Act, Congressional Act on the digital asset space that's now moved to Senate. And then we're going to wrap this all up with protecting your digital asset, your crypto. It's all getting ready to start. I think we got to go. Let's go.
And now, the HODL Review with Jeff on the chain.
All right, welcome back. So check this out. This was a tweet that XRP Stewart posted recently. Actually, it has something to do with something Gary Gensler had said back in 2018. Now, we're talking about 3 years ago. 3 years ago, he put out this statement, Gary Gensler, and he quotes, "But this will not be resolved just by the Securities and Exchange Commission. It will be resolved by some courts, whether it's the appellate courts or the Supreme Court." So even Gary Gensler believes that this case, as to whether or not Ripple was selling a non-compliant security, won't be settled by the SEC. Right now, it sits in the SEC. Right now, there's a lawsuit, SEC v. Ripple, looking at this exact point as to whether or not XRP is a security or not, dating back to 2013. So I'm glad that XRP Stewart brought this up because it's a poignant time right now to have this conversation, this discussion over what Gary Gensler said, because these are things that he believes. This is the guy that everyone put so much credence into in terms of actually having some sort of a resolution. Now, John Deaton's response, which I think is spot on, and his response was, and Gary needs to accept that there's a big difference between 2013 to 2018 XRP. I believe, yes, 100% different in 2013, but I believe that by 2016, 2017, 2018, we already started to see a trend of people investing in XRP that had nothing whatsoever to do with Ripple, the company. Now, that all actually dates all the way back to the beginning. The majority of people that are getting into XRP know that they're not investing into Ripple and also see XRP as a standalone digital asset that's no different than Bitcoin, no different than Ethereum, and no different than Litecoin or many of the others. And I bring those up because those were in the top categories in 2017 and 2018. And John brings that up and even reflects even further in 2019 and 2021. Huge difference. Even right now, we see a divergence of the price of XRP as it relates to this case, the SEC v. Ripple. XRP is finally gaining legs, finally gaining momentum with the rest of the market. And so John then points out there'll be a big difference between today's XRP and 2025 XRP, which are 100%. Zero difference. Zero whatsoever. And it says here, but the complaint filed by the SEC states that XRP itself and the very nature of XRP makes it a security, which is incorrect. And that's where the SEC is way off base. XRP Stewart or Stewart XRP agrees. He says, absolutely. I thought this was important. I thought it was a really good place to start our conversation, to start our dialogue for the video, because then I want to get into what are some of the things that actually make sense, that actually bring regulatory clarity. Now, the one thing that we know is that the SEC doesn't write law. The SEC acts on laws that are on the books. That's how they create, or that's how they don't create, that's how they guide. Let's say they give guidance to companies. And they assess what a company has done based on laws that are on the books. Now, the only real way to establish clear, true law or a true, clear clarity, regulatory clarity, is through Congress, through a congressional act. Now, we all know that the Token Taxonomy Act has been out 3 years, three sessions in a row. It's been presented by Warren Davidson and Darren Soto. Now another bill has been presented, and this bill, which is now sitting in the Senate, HR 1602, has now been read twice and is sitting in the Senate right now in Committee on Banking, Housing, and Urban Affairs. It actually passed on April 20th by the Congress. Now, the title of this act is Eliminate Barriers to Innovation. Now, this is a starting point, but all this is really doing is establishing a working group to support innovation regarding digital assets. But it's a working group. It's a group that's meant to discuss, that brings the SEC and the CFTC together to have conversations. But it's a starting point. At least it's something. But we don't know if it's going to pass the Senate yet. It's passed the House. It needs to move on to the Senate. It's an important stepping stone in the right direction. Now, the one thing that is critical when we look at these bills is that these bills cross all political barriers. Because when we look at this, we see the primary sponsor of the bill is Patrick McHenry from North Carolina, a Republican. And it's then co-sponsored by Stephen Lynch, a Democrat out of Massachusetts, Glenn Thompson, a Republican out of PA, Ted Budd, a Republican out of North Carolina, and Warren Davidson, a Republican out of Ohio. Now, Warren Davidson and Darren Soto, as a Democrat, were the authors and the primary sponsors of the Token Taxonomy Act. Ted Budd, we hear a lot from him, as we do from Patrick McHenry, on multiple bills. But these are things that we have to stay tuned for. All right, so now let's get to really one of the key points. And I did this on my live stream, my last live stream, really focused on how do you protect yourself in the digital asset space. And my conversation went a lot further, a lot more in depth. But there's one thing that is very clear, is that when you're into your bank, your credit cards, your email, whatever it might be, your computer, there's certain things that you need to do to protect yourself from intrusion. One of those key things is being very diligent. So this article I thought was really spot on. It focuses in on 5 smart ways to protect your identity and your digital assets. Now, protecting your identity is something that supersedes and then goes beyond your digital assets, because protecting your identity is something that we've wanted to do and tried to do since the beginning of getting online, even before that, but especially since we get online. Now, you might end up at a gas station, and at your gas station, you might end up, gas station, or even if you go out to eat and someone takes your credit card. Now, what about your assets, your digital asset? This is where it becomes very, very critical. And one of the first points, don't boil the ocean. But, really this is all about, they talk about, your Schwab account or your Fidelity account or whatever that might be, which is, know the emails that you get, know the alerts you get, set yourself up for automatic alerts every time there's action. Make sure you get a text message. That's not a secret knock. So make sure that you understand that you have some sort of authentication, a 2-step authentication, a Google Authenticator that actually requires that you add additional numbers. Maybe you get an additional email or a text message or whatever it might be in order to establish that you're trying to log in with an additional code. Now, number 3 here is your password. Obviously, change your password. Make it as complex as you can. There's a lot of ways to save them. Don't save your passwords on your Excel spreadsheet on your computer. Now, mail, this is interesting because now they're going after your mail, your regular mail, your paper mail. They're going there to try to figure things out. Number 5 is don't make it easy. So avoid your public Wi-Fi. Don't use that. Use firewalls, 2-factor, even your email, 2-factor authentication. Don't write down your passwords and don't store your passwords on your computer. I think that's important. Even, writing them down. If you do put them someplace, store them on an encrypted. There's a lot of encrypted softwares. That's a great place to start. There's a ledger. If you're using your crypto and you want to keep your cryptocurrency safe, you can use a ledger. You can put it on a known exchange. You have to figure out where you're comfortable, where you're safe. And the final point with all of this, Do not click links that you don't trust. If you get a link in an email, and you say, hey, I don't recognize this, or it looks like it's from my bank, don't click it. I thought this was important. I appreciate you guys being on here. Remember to go to our live channel. We stream 6 days a week. We stream Sunday through Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time and every Saturday morning at 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Make sure you tune back here. Make sure if you're brand new, you're subscribing to this channel because we post content daily on this channel. I look forward to seeing you on the next one. Look forward to seeing you on our live stream. And I'll see you then. I'm out.
Are you down with OTC? Please like, subscribe, and click the bell to be notified when the next video drops.